Good morning, good peoples. Well, we have an election result. Probably not what about half the country likes, but I think we're all going to be better off for this. I don't get into politics. I just think the markets and the economy will do much better. So that's all I'm going to say. No real political statements. All right, guys. So let's get into YieldMax. I did Round Hill. If you guys look at that, I'll have Defiance out shortly. But Ymag's interesting. So we had Group B. Again, just a reminder to all of you people because this can totally be confusing. I always say it. So Ymax and Ymag. So Ymax and Ymag are the two weekly payers. So in order to, since all the underlying payers, if you will, are monthly. So in order to get a weekly payer for a Ymax and a Ymag, you got to alternate, right? So every week you have a different group. So you have groups A, B, C, D. And then they had to transition where some of them, the first time they paid it would be 6 weeks and some. So now we're into this rotation. We've done Group A for the second time. Now we've done Group B for the second time. But all of these particular funds, Nvdy, Facebook, Meta, JP Morgan, MRNY, Gdx, the inverse, the negative on Nvdy, dips, Babo, the Chinese company, PLTR, my favorite stock by far, probably the best technical stock that you'll see over the next number of years. I've been pretty clear. And what's it done? Now, if you want to hang around and play in the income world, you can get your paltry little 46%. People that own the stock over the last week or two made that much money, right? So that's my problem with these income funds. Okay, I was a big proponent, and at times when everything works, they really work. But this says to me they're only paying $2.20 on a $57. The problem is these launches in the 50s, right? So the stock's up $7, okay? But you're getting a very paltry, normally I'd say $2.20 on a $20 stock is fabulous, right? Those are, you were getting that on Misty when it was 20 rand to 45 and now it's back high 20s 30s. It's had $2, $3, and $4 payouts. um, but this thing should be killing it, and obviously it's not because Jay and group really focus on income and don't do a very good job at that. You're just the fabulous stocks, you're way better to own the stock. And if you get smart and watch some of my videos, I can teach you how to write some of your own call option. You'll do way better than being stuck in these funds and getting all messed up. Now, these are better because they're distributed over a whole bunch of players. So you can get a 36% yield. You don't have to do anything. You pay a little bit higher management fee for these guys, but it's still okay. And Ymag is up there at 56.64. So let me go through the individual results. I've given you some of my opinions. So these funds really are paid monthly. So I'm just, even though in my other spreadsheets I have them way all the way back, but when I started doing these groups, I just keep 3 or 4, maybe I'll expand. So you can see here, here's what Nvdy did. In September, it paid $1.35. October, $1.09. Here we are at $1.02. Well, I can tell you the stock's within $3 or $4 of its all-time high, the underlying, right? See, again, you'd be way better off being in Nvidia than you would messing around with Nvdy. Okay, just telling you, there are periods when they're just flat, but the IV is still high that you're going to make money in these incomes. But I call it the lazy way. And ultimately, when you're lazy for a period of time, you lose money. You leave money on the table. So if you do the research and you figure out what stocks to be in, like in Bitcoin or some of the high flying AI, hardware was there for a while, but I'll tell you, PLT, PLTR, Palantir, okay, will just kill Nvidia over the next 4 years. If you look at the growth, why? Because Nvidia is already a $3 trillion company. I know it's pulled back, and I can't keep up with the market cap. It surges to 3.5, comes back in the twos, but this thing has just blown the roof off. And rightfully so. They're really good at what they do, but they're hardware at the end of the day. And those margins will get eroded and the competition will catch up. They'll be a great stock for a few more years. But, you might get a triple in 6 years. Well, you can get a triple in a year in Palantir. I think Palantir will surpass Microsoft in size. It'll probably be the most valuable company in the world at some point. So that's what I see there, and I've been pounding the table on it, but not through Yieldmax, guys. It's especially when it was $20 and $30, easier just to buy the stock. Now it's in the 50s, right? And it'll pull back at some point. I think we're getting the surge on the election, and we're probably going to go 61, 62, but I still think we pull back from there. Um, We'll just have to see what kind of programs. Remember, the president-elect doesn't even take over until January. All right, so let me finish this. So Facebook, 83 cents. Okay, nice yield on Meta, 51%. Even Nvidia is 47, but that's not that great compared to the stock. The all-time high was like 146. I think it was 139 yesterday. The pre-markets, if you guys haven't looked, um, let me see what my updates show, and I'll tell you guys in here. All right, before the bell. All right, it's 7 a.m. I'm seeing the Dow 2.93% in the pre-market, right? At 7:17 Eastern time. S&P 500 2.09, Nasdaq 1.47. So the big tech stuff is lagging compared. Now there's some winners. Tesla's up 11.28%, right? Um, we all know that's Elon's Musk's tie-in there. I mean, being a brilliant, brilliant guy, but obviously he's going to have extraordinary power here in the newer administration when he gets involved. Not that he doesn't have a lot on his plate already. The guy's just a genius. All right. So going through these things, $2 for Nvdy, Meta, 83 cents, JPMO. Now, oil and natural gas should do very well. Some people say, yeah, but oil's going to come down, drill, baby, drill. Yes, there will be a lot of drilling, but guys, it all takes time. All this legislation will allow the oil companies to move in, but all that infrastructure and investment and drilling all takes time. So I don't expect oil just to drop immediately, not with all the tensions that are still going on in the world. Okay, so 40 cents on MRNY. I mean, MRNY at 721, it gets in the sixes and it's going to reverse split. Gdxy again. I have no interest in that. I was pounding the table on GDX and even telling people, hey, when I liked YieldMax's strategy, get GDXY. That's going to be good for multiple years. It will be GDX, but not the fund. I saw how they manage it. They're horrible. You're way better off writing your own options or just buying GDX or GDXJ for the juniors. Or when it's really running, go in and buy JNUG, right? Which is a 2X. Dips, 61 cents. Not bad. I mean, it's dropping, but that's because it's the inverse of Nvdy. Because Nvdy, at least it's holding this 25.98 price. right? That's the good thing about Nvdy is it's not getting NAV eroded and it's paying decently. But again, I call that the lazy man's game, right? You let your money work for you, but you're not actively figuring out when to own it, what the charts look like. It's just like Palantir. You're going to see Palantir probably back in the 40s sometime, but it's also before long going to be in the 80s, right? It's just that thing. If you just DCA in and do nothing but own it and sell some really, when it gets up really high, okay, and then write your calls out a couple months, you'll be fine and write them, 20% out of the money, 30% out of the money, and go out a couple months. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled out on a really higher price, way higher than you bought, and that's your income. And rinse and repeat. All right. So again, guys, these are the results on Ymag and Ymax. This one is holding its NAV price a little better, but these yields aren't bad. I mean, if you can get 40% out of Ymax, and again, if you guys haven't noticed, when you're here in these two, they get paid out of the groups from the week before, right? So you look at Tesla. Tesla only paid 59.86. That's not a particular big payment for Tesla. Now Tesla's up like 12%. Tesla, and hence Tesla this morning. And you're going to get, when they make big distributions, then the following week is when you get paid for those guys, right? So Ymax payments and these weekly payments are coming out of Google and Tesla, which is not all that big. Well, if you look here, Nvidia and Meta are your two that matter for the group C. So when you get down here next time, how did they do last time? Well, they paid 17 cents and 22 cents, right? So your YMAG only has 7. Your YMAX has everybody. So sorry, I didn't. I was giving you, when you're trying to figure out which are the Mag 7, that only affects YMAG. So when it's higher, it means they're doing. But when I look at the pre-market, it's telling me the S&P 500 is up a much higher percentage, and the Dow's up even higher as a percentage, because the market just sees the presidency, the new president-elect, as positive, but not necessarily just the tech stocks and the Mag 7. So we'll see how that plays out as well. So that's what I got here for you, folks. I'll wrap this up. Remember, you have to buy today if you want to collect any of these dividends on Group B. Tomorrow is ex-dividend 11.7, and they pay on 11.8. It's pretty much the same. I'll get into Defiance as soon as those come out. They could be coming out while I'm doing this now. All right, guys, again, this is Bruce with Targeted Wealth Creation. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. It's for fun and entertainment. All right, peoples, have a great day ahead. Bye for now.